UFC 289 official live weigh-in stream. What is going on, everyone? This is MMAfighting.com's weigh-in stream for you. Sorry guys, I'm juggling multiple things here. We've got Jose Youngs on site in Vancouver bringing you this beautiful feed right now. This is the voice of Alexander K. Lee. So it'll be myself, it'll be Jose, and it'll be producer extraordinaire, Casey Leiden.
Yeah.
Also, there he is. Then that's it. That'll be our crew for this morning. Maybe we'll have some surprise guests. I don't know. I can promise nothing. I'm just letting the good field Twitter know.
Fresh can of LaCroix. I'm ready.
Ooh, I don't know what that is. All right.
98765.
Here we go. There's John Anik. Yes. John Anik, little sound test. We only have 22 fighters weighing in today, guys. So, I mean, listen, it's probably still going to take, we know how these things go. It's probably still going to take the large chunk of the 2-hour window. You guys have the little clock down there. We will have the graphic for you soon enough, updating, letting you guys know who has made, who hasn't. Hopefully no misses today. We don't want to see any of that red text on the graphic.
Well, thank you all for being here for the official weigh-in for UFC 289.
Here we go.
Versus Aldana live from Rogers Arena. Saturday night on pay-per-view, and we begin with one of the fighters around whom this fight card was built. The number 5 ranked UFC women's bantamweight contender and first-time title challenger, Irene Aldana.
Ooh.
Hey, here comes Irene Aldana.
Erasing all those
Listen, there's been some questions. We'll talk about that history, sort of that weird history.
135 even.
135 pounds, the official weight for Irene Aldana.
135, no problem. On the dot, championship weight.
To the stage, weighing in as a backup for our championship main event, the number 2 ranked women's bantamweight contender, Raquel Pennington.
Oh, I wasn't aware. Should I have known this? Raquel Pennington, did you guys know this?
Oh, we all knew.
Yes, because
we all knew.
If you consumed the product, the media day and the press conference, it was brought up.
All right.
And by the Colby Covington logic, she will be getting the winner of this, unless it's a rematch.
As she should. Guaranteed.
Not according to Dana.
134.5.
134.5, the official weight for Rocky Raquel Pennington.
134.5 for Raquel Pennington. Congrats to her and Tisha Torres. I believe they recently had their child recently came along, so there we go.
Yeah.
Our next athlete to the
some motivation.
competing in a prelim round on ESPN in the UFC featherweight division, Blake Builder.
Wow.
Next up, we got Blake Builder.
Dude, he had a great UFC debut. I'm excited about this gentleman. I think.
You're a Blake Builder fan?
I think I am. Why? Did he say something? Did he say something silly?
Yes.
Oh no. No.
145.5.
145.5, the official weight for Blake Builder.
145.5 for Blake Builder.
All right, next athlete to the stage, competing in the UFC women's strawweight division, Diana Belbita.
Diana Belbita. First fight of the night, I believe, against Maria Oliveira.
Oh, there we go. Thought we lost the internet for a while.
$114.5.
Official weight 114.5 for Diana Belbita.
114.5 for Diana Belbita.
She also has one of the better Twitter accounts, I think.
All right, next athlete to the scale. The fighter around whom this fight card was built, the reigning, defending, undisputed UFC women's bantamweight and featherweight champion, Lioness Amanda Nunes.
The champ is in the building. She has done this many times before.
She comes in at 135.1. What happens?
We're gonna have a problem. That's what's gonna happen. We're gonna have a real problem.
135 even.
135, the official weight for the champion Amanda Nunes.
135 even for the champ Amanda Nunes. Arena Aldana also weighed in at 135 earlier, so that main event is now
Next athlete to
official.
weigh in is the #1 ranked lightweight contender, former UFC lightweight champion and future Hall of Famer Charles Du Bronx Oliveira.
Future Hall of Famer Charles Oliveira. John Anik just calling it, just making the
Wow.
decisions. He's
Jeez.
making the decisions now. I mean, he's not wrong. But
Oh, in the shades. Making a statement.
what statement is he making?
He, I don't know.
154.
154, the official weight from Charles Oliveira.
154 with room to spare. The former champion Charles Oliveira. That's
shades.
one half of the co-main. With the shades, he would have been without him. They would have 134,
Yeah.
133.5. Okay.
Wow. Hey, you're
Listen,
good at this.
just-
okay? You're-
just-
To the
give me a
stage
second.
competing
You're-
in a prelim on ESPN at featherweight, Kyle Nelson.
Al Nelson, Canada's own. Let's go.
What part of Canada? Tell me about his Canada upbringing.
I think he's from Ontario. I know. I should have said that with more confidence. I
Yeah.
apologize. It's also pretty vague too. It's Ontario.
145 even.
145 pounds, the official weight for Kyle Nelson.
Kyle Nelson, 145.
Oh, say it.
Oh, his fight. I forgot who was fighting. His fight with
competing in the women's
Blake
flyweight division,
Hilder is
Jasmine
official.
Jazz Davidian.
There's another Canadian, Jasmine Yasadevicius, as she told Air Helwani. That is how it's pronounced, and that is how I will pronounce it.
Yasha Davis?
Yasadavicius. Yasadavicius.
Jasmine Yasha Davicius?
Yasadavicius. That's right.
Yeah.
$125.25.
125. Oh.
For Jasmine Jazz Davidian.
125.25. We're doing quarters, guys. We're doing quarters. in
Quarters
Vancouver.
now. What?
We're doing
Canada.
quarters in Vancouver.
Whoa.
Okay.
Next fighter
So
to
you
weigh
know.
in is her opponent, the number 15 ranked UFC women's flyweight contender, Miranda Maverick.
Here's her opponent. UFC veteran, but still young, Miranda Maverick.
$125.5.
125.5, the official weight for Miranda Maverick.
Miranda Maverick, 125.5. Her fight with Yasmin Yasadavicius is now official.
Our next fighter to weigh in this morning here in Vancouver, the number 10 ranked UFC flyweight contender, David Dvorak.
David Dvorak, one of several alliteratively named flyweight contenders. See how David comes in here.
That's how they book cards now, I think.
As they should.
$125.5.
125.5, the official weight for David Dvorak.
125.5 for David Dvorak. Very interested to see what his opponent weighs in at, given that he's coming in on short notice, Mr. Steven Erceg.
All right, next fighter to the stage, competing live on pay-per-view in the featherweight division. Nathan Train's in the building. Nathan,
Oh, boy. Tennessee is in the house. Tennessee is in the house.
$145.25.
145.25 pounds, the official weight for Nate the Train.
145.25 for Nate Landwehr.
just
All right, next fighter to the
Quarter
scale
pound
charge
off
with kicking
championship
off the
weight.
main card live on pay-per-view in the middleweight division, Eric "Your Boy" Anders.
Oh, one half of an incredibly middleweight matchup. It is Eric Anders coming up here, and I say that as a compliment.
Anik really hit your boy hard. Like he was like, "Your boy." He's
a good
been waiting
nickname.
a while. Yeah, he's been waiting a while to say that. What?
184 3/4, the official weight for Eric Anders.
184.75. Listen, we do for Eric Anders. Listen, we do things differently in Canada. We just do things a little differently.
Make it championship weight by quarter pound.
Prelim live on ESPN in the middleweight division, 14th ranked contender, the Action Man, Chris Curtis.
Chris Curtis. I heard on Saturday they're going to be using quarters and in the scoring. Casey. I don't know if you heard about that. Yeah, it'll be 9.75.
You know, I wanted
10,
half points, but you know what? They took it farther. They
no, even for we don't do it halfway here. Here comes the Action Man.
I'm a fan of Chris Curtis's Twitter
I
account.
mean, oh, that was hilarious. We'll talk about that in a second.
Yeah.
185 1/4 for the King of Combat, Chris Curtis.
185 point. The King of Combat. Have I never heard
what?
that nickname before?
King of Combat.
Called the King of Combat.
The man many of these fans have come out to see competing live
Oh,
on
Mike
pay-per-view
Malott.
in the welterweight division, proper Mike Malott.
I knew it.
Mike Malott, I like a lot. Bars.
Wow. Yeah.
I got bars.
Yeah, it's true.
Okay.
This guy really likes Canada.
How can you
Like
tell?
he's really into Canada.
This is his first time ever in Vancouver, too.
169.5.
169.5, the official weight for Mike Malott.
169.5, no problem for Mike Malott. Is this the first fight in UFC history with two guys with double T's at the end of their names? That is what I want answered.
All right, next athlete to the stage, looking to keep his momentum going in the bantamweight division, Ayman Zahabi.
I asked the hard questions.
Loser has to lose a T.
Yeah, absolutely. I give it to the other guy.
Yeah. Mike Malott.
Oh, Ariel Helwani. Whoa, what the?
Whoa.
Jeez. It's looking good.
Ariel.
Again, I think that's a new one.
Oh, man, that is...
Jose
Don't be
loves
that
this
guy.
joke, too. I can
Don't
tell.
Don't be that guy. Don't be that guy. We're all having a good time.
Jose's that guy today.
Listen, I'm the most Canadian one here. I'm actually all the way out here.
He is actually in Vancouver right now.
135 3/4, the official weight for Ayman Zahabi.
135.75 for Ayman Ariel Helwani Zahabi.
Now, is BC? Do you Ontario people really count BC as like really Canada? Is it really Canada?
Of course, I'm from BC. Of course, I would hope so.
Maria Oliveira.
I would certainly hope so, Casey.
I mean,
Otherwise,
'cause,
my
I don't
whole
know.
brand is a lie. Then.
When I'm in Vancouver, it doesn't really feel like Montreal. So it was very, I don't know. Oh,
Maria Oliveira.
Oh boy.
115.5.
All good, all good.
115.5, the official weight for Maria Oliveira.
A man just got to get his quarters right on the scale, Casey. He's got to get it exactly right. 115.5. If this were Jeff Mullen, he just
Say
did
it.
115.
Say it, okay?
Oh, I'm sorry. Her fight with Diana Babita is official.
Debut here tomorrow in the flyweight division, Steve Erceg.
You literally have one job, AK. Oh, is this Steve?
This is Steven Erceg.
No, Steve. Friends call him Steve. We call him Steve.
We'll go with Steve.
Steve.
Coming on very short notice.
$125.5, the official
Hey,
weight
no
for
problem.
Steve Erceg.
125.5 for Steve Erceg. All good. It's all good.
Good job, Steve. He looks like a
I
Steve.
believe
I like it.
I believe it was, I want to say, Hannah Rose on Twitter who said he looks like a cross between Ryan Hall and Steve Carell. And the
Oh.
picture that she put up was shockingly accurate.
Yeah. That's what it's like. He looks like somebody. I think that was
No,
yeah.
he looks like two somebodies.
Yeah, he looks like two.
Arichi Lang.
Even.
135 pounds, the official weight for Orichi Long.
135 on the dot for Arichi Lang. His fight with Ayman Zahabi is official.
Next fighter to the scale.
So Richie Long? Not Richie Lang? Richie Long.
I go with whatever Anik says. Marc-André Barriot, except when he's not doing the French-Canadian pronunciation. Then I do not go with John. Go my way.
Even.
185 pounds, the official weight for Marc.
185 on the dot for Marc-André Barriot. His fight with Eric Anders is official.
Next fighter to the stage, the other half of the co-main event, one of the best lightweights in the world, the fourth-ranked contender, Beneil Dariush.
Here we go, Beneil Dariush. Charles Oliveira already successfully made weight earlier, coming in a pound under.
No sunglasses.
Good observation.
100
Hey.
pounds, the official weight for Dariush.
156 for Beneil Dariush. That lightweight co-main event is now official. I said it first.
Good job.
All right, next fighter
Thank
to
you.
weigh in this morning, the
Wow.
12th-ranked UFC middleweight contender.
It's okay. We lost our audio. No worries.
Hey, is it back?
You're back. I don't know if we hear the broadcast, the people again.
You'll hear him.
Okay.
Yeah, it's
Trust
Bob.
me.
Ooh. I am hyped for this fight. I'm a big Imavov fan.
185 and a half, the official weight for Nassourdine Imavov.
185 and a half for Nassourdine Imavov. His fight with the Action Man Chris Curtis is now official.
Good job, AK.
In fact, I think we're only waiting on two people now, it looks like, if I am reading this correctly. Just Adam Fugitt
And Dan Ige.
and Dan Ige. Huh. All right, then.
So we could be waiting an hour and 42 minutes for
Don't
Adam
say that.
Fugitt.
God, don't say that. All right, let me just update Rooney some of these things on our website here. And I'm guessing that
Update a Rooney.
I'll update Rooney on the weigh-ins post. So apologies for anyone who's kind of looking at the
don't
weigh-ins
like
post in MMAfighting.com. It should be fully updated now. Yeah, we're just waiting on two. That was exciting. What was I gonna? I had so many stray comments about Marc-André Barriot and Nate Landwehr and the main event and Beneil Dariush, and well, I guess we can talk about whatever we want now. So I did see some questions.
That might be a record time for 20. Was it 20 fighters?
Yeah,
Game?
20. Yeah.
Yeah, but there's always those last two.
Our own Shaheen Al Shadi asking in our Slack, "What's the record for shortest weigh-ins?" And immediately jinxing it.
Yeah. Oh no, I didn't say.
Not that I believe in that sort of thing, but so to answer the question, I do believe they had one that was done in like under 40 minutes, if I'm not mistaken. I'm sure Jose was there. I'm sure he can recall if what event I'm talking about. It might not have been a pay-per-view though. So.
Yeah.
All right, but yes, let me and I'll leave a note in the chat just because I know those people who aren't going to look in the graphic, and I'll just let's leave a little note in the chat here. Headliners: Amanda Nunes and Irene Aldana have successfully made weight.
Irene.
Irene.
Can I hear your Marc Andre?
Yes.
Can I hear your Marc Andre Barriot? Was
Marc-Andre
it?
Barriot.
Ooh, terrible. All right, Amanda Nunes and Irene Aldana.
Does it help if I go ho 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 at the end?
Wow, it's like that.
Is it-
It's just you think because you're not in Vancouver, you can just get away with that.
Listen, as the most Canadian one on this chat,
Okay,
I
okay.
determine,
I stand corrected.
determine whose names are.
I stand corrected.
I love like Vancouver's the one city in Canada. I was like, man, I can move there, or just BC in general. I like
fine.
it.
Beautiful. It is beautiful.
I like it up there.
I almost died hiking. That was fun.
Oh, there's so many good hikes. Oh, when I went to what was it? Victoria Island? Is that what it's called? Was the you had to go on the ferry, and I had some crazy awesome hikes over there. It's like a cold rainforest. So there's a freaking a show on Netflix right now about Vancouver Island with all the animals. The Sea Wolf Island. Something Sea Wolf. I watched.
That's not the name of the. That's the name of the show.
Something Sea Wolves.
That's the fighter nickname.
But it takes place on Vancouver Island, and yeah, it's so neat.
I've never heard of this. I know there's a bunch of shows now that are like being. Wait, are you talking about Island of the Sea Wolves? I don't know. This is an animated show. Oh yes, it's a. Oh, no, it's not. It's a documentary
Yeah, it's a documentary
on
series.
Netflix. Oh, okay. Yes,
What
this
is
is
it
the thing.
called? Oh yeah, Island of
Narrated
Sea
by
Wolves.
Will Arnett.
Will Arnett, yeah.
Hi,
Which is confusing because it's
GC
confusing-
sound alike.
Yeah,
Will Arnett.
this guy's ripping off GC's gimmick. Because I think of Will Arnett as a comedic voice, but he's so like Robert Attenborough on it, so it's confusing. But it's
He's from
awesome.
Canada, right?
Richard?
Who's
What's he,
from
Robert?
Canada? Oh, Will Arnett.
Will Arnett.
Richard Attenborough. Yeah, Will Arnett. Yes.
I said Robert Attenborough.
Will Arnett, proud Canadian.
think-
Proud Canadian.
Yeah, Will Arnett is from Canada.
He is. Yeah. All right, I'm gonna do a little rundown right now, Casey.
You're gonna do the rundown?
Not to try and summon anyone, just because it went so quickly, and I'm sure there's people who like tuned in or who are tuning in now who thought like, oh, well, I won't miss most of the weigh-ins, and well, you missed most of the weigh-ins just because they came so quickly.
All right, you ready?
Uh huh.
All right, here we go. 5, 4, 3, 2.
All right, everyone. Again, thanks for anyone just joining in. This is the UFC 289 official weigh-in live stream, courtesy of MMA Fighting and our own Jose Youngs, who is on site in beautiful Vancouver, British Columbia. No drama at the top of the card. Our bantamweight championship main eventers, Amanda Nunes, the title holder, and challenger Irene Aldana, both came in championship weight, 135 on the dot. The lightweight co-main event, fingers crossed, the number one contenders bout, though, nothing's guaranteed in this business. Coming in at Charles Oliveira, the former champ, 154, pound under, and Beneil Dariush, 156, making use of that 1 pound allowance for a non-title fight. Also on the main card, Canada's Mike Malott came in 169.5. We are still waiting for his opponent, Adam Fugitt. Dan Ige, the other fighter we're waiting on, but his opponent did come in successfully. Nate Landwehr, 145.25. Eric Anders, 184 and 3/4 for his main card opening middleweight bout again against Marc-Andre Barriot, who came in at 185 on the dot. Nasruddin Imavov, 185.5. And Chris Curtis, 185.25. They will close out the preliminary portion of the card. Jasmine Yasadavicius coming in 125.25 for her fight with Miranda Maverick at 125.5. Ayman Zahabi, 135.75 for his bantamweight bout with Arichi Lang, 135. Blake Builder, 145.5 for his fight with Canada's own Kyle Nelson at 145. David Dvorak, 125.5 for his fight with late notice replacement Steve Urseg, who came in at the same weight, 125.5. And then the openers, Diana Belbita and Maria Oliveira, both successfully made weight for their strawweight contests, 114.5 for Belbita, 115.5 for Oliveira. There we go. Again, not a lot of drama, not a lot to discuss. That may seem appropriate. Casey, we were kind of talking forth, given the kind of the lack of most of the buzz around this card has been how there is no buzz. how this has been on paper is a somewhat disappointing offering from the UFC for their return to Canada. I believe first.
For pay-per-view, yeah, this card kind of sucks for sure. Because I mean, there's 2 really good fights, but you're paying for 5 fights, and the last 3 fights, while they could be good fights, I mean, these are last week. These are easily fight night fights.
Jose Youngs, are you there?
Yep. What's up?
Trivia. You probably know this because you've probably been hearing it all week, and your computer. What was the last pay-per-view to take place in Canada?
Was that Brian and Max in Toronto and Valentina and Joanna?
No. I should give you a strong hint. We were there. You and I were there.
Edmonton, duh.
Edmonton. A picture that I have, I still use this day in my online dating profile. Not active right now, by the the way.
I was about to say.
How's it work?
Came from that wonderful event. Yes, their last trip to Canada was. Casey?
Who took the photo? Was it me or Esther?
I think Esther did.
Oh, okay.
Pretty sure. The last trip was September 2019. That was for Fight Night, but the last pay-per-view, July 2019, UFC 240. Holloway and Edgar, and Chris Cyborg, Felicia Spencer in the co-main event. Great show. That was a lot of fun.
And, Figueiredo Pantoja was on that fight.
Wow, on the prelims. Look at that. Third fight of the prelims.
Ooh.
And
that fight was Jeff Neal smashed up Nico Price.
Jeff Neal, Nico Price, third fight in the card. Arman Sarukian, OAM, that was the 4th fight on the main card. And then Jocko, and once again, Power Bar, Marc-Andre Barriault opening the
movement.
Here we go.
All right, next athlete to weigh in, competing live on pay-per-view, the 13th ranked UFC featherweight contender, Dan 50K Ige.
Dan Ige.
Dan Ige needs to change his nickname due to inflation.
Why did you took that? I was about to say the same thing.
Inflation.
Get out of my head. Get out of my head.
$145.5, the official weight for Dan Ige.
145.5 for Dan Ige. His fight with Nate Landwehr is now official.
He should be like one. He should be like one. I mean, like 57K at least by now.
Yeah, listen, math is not my strong point. We should ask the guy who's doing the scale to calculate how much, because he's pretty
and a quarter.
He's pretty on top of these things. So
I mean, okay, we're talking about landmark events. Is this the first time we've had the beam scale and they've broken it down by quarters? I mean, I've never had 0.75 on here. Like, I didn't even know how to press all these numbers. It was throwing me off.
Again, if Jeff Mullen in Las Vegas, he does not. He would not even bother trying to figure. Oh, is it 2.5 or 0.5? Like, he just is it around the made weight? Yes, slam the thing back. Next person up.
See, this is the thing. We can't get any we can't get any nuanced scoring in MMA. It's all we're just going by the boxing system. But we can break this down by the quarter pound now.
Yeah. No problem. No problem. If someone misses by 0.25, I would just be upset. If I was a fighter, I'd be like, give me
Romero. Did Romero miss when he fought?
Where was that? And that was with the
Chicago.
Scale, right?
Chicago. It was digital scale.
Digital scale. Oh my god, it's just so silly. It's like no other commission that's going to even give 2 craps about quarter of a pound.
And what did Oliveira miss when he got his title?
Oh god,
it's half a pound. He
Jose?
missed half a pound. Yeah.
Okay. That's whatever. I'm okay with that. That's simple.
But the weird thing of Oliveira is today he weighs in at 154, a full pound under with shades, and just
you got to get over the shades thing, Casey.
It's amazing.
It's just blowing your mind. It's like,
Darius is just in his undies weigh 156, and Oliveira's 154. It's like 2 different weight classes in there now. This is crazy.
Man, even the I mentioned that was the last pay-per-view 240, but even the last the most recent card of Fight Night in Vancouver, I don't think I was at this event. Oh, yes, I was,
That
wasn't I?
Joanna, Michelle Watterson, and Dustin and Eddie.
This is Justin and Donald. Justin and Donald Cerrone.
Oh, that's right.
And I'm pretty sure we were here for this too. I have vague memories
You
of
were.
being here.
I was
Okay.
not. You guys were.
Oh, okay. And we did a show with Sarah Kaufman, the
Was,
delightful Sarah Kaufman.
Uriah,
The light was there. The retired.
Uriah Hall fought Shoeface on that card.
Yeah, yeah. Again, so this is why, like, if you want to talk about you want to talk about card deflation, like this, I would say the top to the bottom, the lineup for Saturday is not considerably stronger than this card I'm looking at here. Again, Gaethje, Cerrone, Glover Teixeira, and the co-main. You got a little Todd Duffy action.
Johnny Walker on that
him
card?
and Jeff Hughes. Johnny Walker was not, but you were right. Uriah Hall, Shoeface, Michel Pereira, the amazing upset loss to Tristan Connolly because he was goofing off way too much. Misha Serkinov was on there. Jimmy, it was not a bad card at all. Current Ultimate Fighter season contestants Hunter Azure and Brad Katona were in the UFC and now are on that. So there you go. That's how long ago this was. 2019, guys. So it's been about.
Okay, we have some questions. You want to answer some questions?
I'm scared because I think I saw some of them. Wait,
I need to apologize. For some reason, I kept saying, I said Richard Attenborough, but it was David.
But there is a Richard Attenborough. Richard
Is there?
Attenborough is the Richard Attenborough is.
I was just making that up. Then I was like,
He is
Robert.
the
Was it
older.
Robert
Yes,
Attenborough?
he is the older brother of David Attenborough.
Oh, okay.
And he also does like narrate. I think David is more famous for the narration and stuff.
They're
Richard
two
is a
different guys. Okay.
director, actor. He was in Jurassic Park. He directed Gandhi.
Wait,
So they're both very successful.
All right.
Oh, and by the way, yes, people are asking, can we get a poll? Guys, I don't know what poll you could have. I mean, again, if you want just who's going to win, we'll talk about that on the preview show. Let's play the same poll there.
Favorite Canadian city or province?
I mean, again, I don't want to narrow that down to 4 options. It's going to make a lot of people upset. So I don't even want to go down that road.
Is anyone going to pick Saskatchewan? Is that how you say it?
Close enough, yeah.
Home of Brock Lesnar.
Oh yeah.
I'm trying to see.
Okay. Name me all the provinces right now. Go.
Hold on. I'm going on my own little thought journey here. I can't do it. I'm on my own little thought journey here. Dan Ige should be Dan's 66.7K tonight if he wants to talk about Canadian dollars. So, and if you want to add in the inflation, oh my God, 70. If we did 75,000 USD, that's over 100 grand Canadian. So he should really be 100K Dan Ige tonight, which is entirely possible, by the way, if him and Nate Landwehr throw down, and Dan Ige maybe scores a big knockout, big submission. I don't know. It's possible. He could be 100K tonight. At 100K will go a long way in state bird. We don't have states up here, Scott McCray. We have provinces. That much I know.
Hey, what's the difference between a state and a province?
How does a bill come in to get passed this? I don't know. That's a good. I actually have no idea. I think it's just us being Canadian, isn't it?
Like, do you have a governor of your province?
Yes.
You have a governor. And you have mayors of your cities. Do you have counties?
I literally just we don't. Yeah, we have counties. We don't have. Yeah, we have mayors. I literally just Googled this. Province is defined as a unit of a country that is created with administrative point of view. State is a smaller territory that adds up to make a federation. So I still don't really know what the difference is, if I'm being perfectly honest. Casey, I see other questions.
I want more Canadian trivia though.
I don't even have any.
All right. Here we go. Here's a question.
Is Nate the Train? Max Rapkin. Is Nate the Train going to take the next step? Seems like it's now or never for him. 145. He turned 35 Wednesday. I would argue it doesn't matter. I love Nate Landwehr. I was a fan of his before the UFC, and I never once thought I hope he comes to the UFC. But it was never I hope he comes to the UFC so he can make a run to a title. It's always just I hope he comes to the UFC so people can more people can watch this guy just be his just absolutely insane self and have. I think he could be one of those guys has 20, 25 fights in the UFC and 20 of them are memorable. One of those guys just puts it on.
I mean almost like a Nico Price for featherweights.
Sure.
That kind of
yeah.
I don't expect him to break the top 10, but
no.
Yeah. He'll
and,
float.
and it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. This guy, listen, he's fun. He's super fun. And listen, there are a lot of fighters I think people remember more for their how exciting their careers were than necessarily like, oh, did they ever make it to the top 5? Did they ever make it? Like it? I see a lot of debate around like Jim Miller, who was a top 10 lightweight at one point, by the way. I see a lot of debate about Jim Miller and the Hall of Fame talk this week, and I'm like, I mean, he never won a title.
So
does
what?
it really matter?
So what?
Yeah,
So
does it really matter?
I think it was when he lost to Nate Diaz. That was the closest he got when that was kind of for like a unofficial #1 contender fight when he lost. I think Nate Diaz for I think it was a UFC on Fox main card.
Yeah, it's not like he was never close. There was definitely some unofficial. I think that was unofficial #1 contender bout. Yeah. And again, if it's being controversial,
that was a #1 contender bout. I think it was UFC on Fox 4 in New Jersey.
New Jersey, yeah.
Remember a fan at the pre-fight press conference was like, "Hey, remember?" He asked all the fighters on. It was like the press conference, a fan in the crowd because they did Q&A. They were like, "Can I walk one of you guys out?" And everyone just sat there in silence. And Jim's like, "Okay." And then he had a fan walk him out to the fight. Very funny.
Didn't work out. Bad luck.
I look up UFC. I was amazed you're even close. UFC on Fox 3. So you're one UFC on Fox off. But yes, East Rutherford, New Jersey. Diaz versus Miller.
What was UFC on Fox 4? Ryan Bader, Lyoto, and Brandon Vera and Shogun, because I get those two.
That was the one back in LA. That was in LA, Los Angeles.
Yeah. The quote unquote whoever is most
was. Yeah, then UFC on Fox 5 was Nate and Benson.
For a title fight. An actual title fight, right? That was title, right? Yeah.
And I think Gus.
That was when Ronda was giving her title too, at that press conference.
Yeah.
The pre-press conference.
Correct.
Mm-hmm. Those UFC on Fox cards, like the first
I remember things.
6, 7 of them, like they were big deals. It was still
exciting.
Then obviously, not obviously, but we were there. But they slowly started watering them down. So it was just they were just basically slightly better fight nights, and they were just fight nights, and then you didn't even notice. Like now they have ABC cards, and like it's the same thing as a fight night. I mean, they're all the same.
I would trade the UFC Vegas series for the UFC on Fox series any day of the week. If it's like keep one, it's like you can only keep one series of. I shouldn't say, because there's probably some great fights on UFC Vegas cards, but UFC and Fox, not a bad run. Not a bad. I'm trying to see how many events there were. Last one, December 2018, 31. 31 UFC on Fox events. The last one, Ally Quinta Kevin Lee too, and that was it. And then ESPN. It was ESPN time.
That was the first fight night I covered by myself for MMA Fighter.
Really? Fiserv Forum, Milwaukee,
where
Wisconsin.
You guys were, Casey. You guys know where you guys were. I got sent to the middle of Milwaukee in December by myself, and Casey Nestor got to go to Bellator, Hawaii. They're like sending me photos of like open workouts on the beach, and I'm literally waiting to check into open workouts in snow.
That Bellator Hawaii trip was one of my favorite work trips I've had. Yeah, so
don't rub it in, Casey. Don't.
I mean, it was really good. It was really. And then after Lima won, it was one of the best main events and best crowds I've ever seen. Next night we met up with like the Bellator PR gang, and they had some divey karaoke bar, and it was good times. Good times.
That you guys did.
How's Milwaukee? What memories you got from Milwaukee?
Memories I have of Milwaukee. So we did the open workouts at the Milwaukee Bucks training facility, which was really cool.
That's kind of cool, actually.
Yeah. It was me and Nick Baldwin and Matt Erickson, and that was it for media. That was when we did open workouts, and we did a media day. They did the scrums after the open workout, which was I think Wednesday, but then this is back when Luke was hosting the MMA Hour. So Kevin Lee was on Monday's episode of the MMA Hour, and then we got a scrum with Kevin Lee after open workouts, and then we got a scrum with Kevin Lee at media day, and then we got a scrum with Kevin Lee after the fight. So we had 4 to 5 videos of Kevin Lee interviews in 5 days.
A lot of Kevin Lee.
Yeah, Milwaukee was very, very cold, so I didn't really get to do a lot.
That still sounds like it's good times.
Great bookstores, though. I'll tell you that much.
There you go.
Dude, but when I've been to Milwaukee once for a UFC event, it was UFC on Versus. It was Dan Hardy versus
No,
Chris
didn't
Idol.
you? You didn't go to Anthony Pettis and Benson?
Oh,
That
I
was in
was there. Okay,
Milwaukee.
never mind. I've been there twice. I take it back. It's like, thank you. I like you know my memory better than I do.
It's a very, it's the Milwaukee Bucks. I think when I went to the Fox Guard, they had just finished renovating or just finished building the new Milwaukee Arena, and it's beautiful. It's a very beautiful. And I remember a lot of the local media had never covered MMA ever. Like because like Sergio Pettis fought on that card, so like a few people were there to cover Sergio, and I think he fought Rob Font at bantamweight. This is back when he was a flyweight and moved up. Um, and all the local media thought they could just set up their tripods like on the floor and do like live shots from like with the fights. The PR was like, no, you can't do that. This was also the first guest fighter scrum for newly signed Ben Askren. He was there because he like trained with Rufus Sport a whole bunch. So
Damn.
Ben Askren did a guest fighter scrum backstage.
December 2018. That was a long time ago. And Casey, you said you were at Hardy versus Lytle versus
Yeah.
5?
Yep. I was there.
August 2011.
Yeah, I was there. I did a weight cut video with Dan Hardy and yeah,
God, man.
some stuff. Yeah.
This was a lifetime ago. Dwayne Ludwig fought on this card. Who else was on here? CB Dollaway was on this card.
Wasn't Alex
Volkman.
Caceres on
Wow.
that card? Was Alex?
Alex Caceres lost to Jimmy Hetties. Remember Jimmy Hetties?
You know why?
Oh,
I know
wow.
he's in like because afterwards I went to some diner afterward and Alex Caceres was there with his father having a post fight dinner. Like at 3 a.m. because it was whatever time it was. Yeah, super late.
That's wild. That's wild stuff. Sorry, I guess we should be talking about this card a little bit. I did say I had some weird, and I did want to talk about
Okay.
the opener a little. Most people place in Canada by far is Vancouver Island. Yeah, listen, I haven't been there in friggin' years, so. But you're not wrong. You're not wrong,
Who's your
Jay Steiner.
favorite?
You're not wrong.
Who's your favorite Canuck? Who's your favorite Canuck?
Wolverine.
It's a good answer. It's underrated.
People
underrated
forget.
answer.
People forget sometimes. People forget.
Forget.
It's Canadian.
Ooh, here we go.
Part of Alpha. Well, created Alpha Flight.
We can talk about this a
Well,
bit. Yeah.
superhero team.
Pro Fights Info asks, thoughts on PFL last night? Seems we're closer than ever to Ngannou versus Wilder, 2-fight deal, 1 boxing, 1 MMA. We're closer than ever. I don't know how much that's.
Oh,
I don't know if that's saying much.
Hey,
Yeah,
credit to Wilder for even putting it out there. Like I would
Yes.
get, yeah, I was like,
And
I
the
mean,
PFL, PFL
PFL missed the boat. They should have had Francis there too.
yes,
Should have had Francis on site.
100%.
And then they could have had a face off. They
100%.
could have done media together.
I wonder if he wasn't available because I feel like if obviously they had thought ahead and got him, more people
What's
would
he
have
doing?
at least realized the card was even happening.
he might
'cause
not
I
be in
do
the
feel-
country. Who knows? He
He might not be in the country. We don't know, right? He might not be available.
We
But
just
the
don't know
thing
where
is,
he is. Yeah.
you got to plan ahead. You got to make these because Jose's right. That would have been a moment.
And
That
then,
would have been, like,
we don't know if the Wilder thing just popped up too, as far as like I'm in town because he lives out in Georgia, correct? Wilder.
I don't
Yeah.
know. Yeah.
Or I know
But yeah,
he's
that was
from
cool.
that area. I don't know if he still lives there, but yeah.
This is why
but-
we say PFL is like why they're doing a good job. Is we kind of joke about it, but like being the number 2 promotion because, yes, I get it. There wasn't a lot of hype around the show itself on Thursday, but people are talking about the PFL for various reasons, whether it be Ngannou, whether it be Jake Paul, whether it be Deontay Wilder. People are talking. People are talking about it this year. If you're just going by like social media buzz and I mean even sort of media chatter, we've never talked about the PFL more. I feel like that we have this year, and that's some kind of win. That's some.
But we're still not talking about the actual fights. We're talking about just things that haven't happened yet, or
Were
maybe
you-
happening.
Were you
We're not-
watching
we're
the
not-
show live last night?
No, but I did see highlights. I've never watched I think I watched one PFL live, and it just killed my soul because it took so freaking long. And I was kind of doing it voluntarily because I wasn't like on the clock. I was like, I was just watch a card, and I was like, oh my god. And then I was like, cool. That punch was 68 miles an hour. and it didn't land.
Yeah, it sucks because they
Are
had
they
a
still
ton
doing?
of
Are they still doing that? The speed kicks and speed punches, is that still part of their gimmick?
uh, as far as I know,
I
yes.
got on the yeah. All right, go on. Sorry.
Sorry, one second. I was gonna say it's a shame. It's a shame because it sounded like, and I watched some of the highlights. I was kind of keeping up on social media, but it ended. I think by the time the main event rolled around, I was like, I'm going to like. But before the main event rolled around, I was like, I'm going to bed. I didn't find out Brandon Loughnane got friggin' huge upset knockout from Pinedo until this morning. Because that's rough. Because they had finishes. They have, it's not like they couldn't speed up the card.
It seemed like
But
a
I
good
get it.
card. It seemed like a good card.
I get it. Listen, you're on ESPN. You're on ESPN. You have a certain amount of, I guess, ad time to fill. So as much as we criticize, I don't think it's PFL's decision necessarily to say, okay, well, let's just get to the next fight. Let's get to the next fight. It would be awesome. It'd be awesome if they could do that. But I don't know how much control they have over that. So I will give them some excuses for some of the pacing. This is the consequences of being on a big network, right? Is you are at their whim, and they probably want to stretch out that show as long as they can for ad purposes. So it's a bummer. But yeah, exciting results. Pinedo, Khabalayev asserting himself as probably course correcting. Probably has been the best featherweight in PFL the last 3 years, and he just got injured that one season. So we all kind of gave.
Pinedo's had like 30 fights. Pinedo's had like 30 fights, hasn't he?
Jesus
He's like
Pinedo.
he's like a long time veteran.
He's a UFC vet, right?
Yes.
Yeah, he has like 30 fights.
Did he fight in the UFC?
No, I don't think so. I think he's had a couple.
Oh, he
UFC
did.
fights.
No, he did. Yes,
Yeah.
you guys are right. Yes,
Yeah.
he did.
Yeah. So there you go.
I think but if he did it, he was like 1-1 or 1-2. But like, I remember him stringing together like win streaks multiple times in like his career. So this is like I think obviously Brandon Loughnane is like the reigning champ, but this is in college football. This would be called the trap game. Like you go face a team that is very easily could win, but the other team has all the hype.
The season, and I love the season format. It's just too short. I just wish there was a way they could start the season earlier.
Yeah.
And have 3 fights, because 2 fights just leaves no room at all for error.
It's not really a season.
It is crazy.
Season.
It's not a season. All right?
It's not a season. That's just a I don't. That's a World Cup, right? Like even World Cups have like,
MMA. MMA's like a season format. MMA is just so difficult because we're used to seasons being in like a calendar year at most. And if you have like 5 fights if you have a season of like 4 to 5 MMA fights, you're just gonna have a bunch of corpses at the end of it. Like so many fighters are gonna fall out. They're gonna get hurt. It's rough.
And
like an MMA season should health wise should be like 2 years.
You can't you can't have a season in MMA and you have to have different weight classes essentially. Like a lot of those fighters just can't. Recovering from injuries, training, and doing big weight cuts, like those are 3 times a year, 4 times a year at max. That's the issue.
Yeah. And that's kind of how Bellator's do it, right? They would run, they wouldn't run every tournament concurrently, right? They would have a tournament, and then tournaments would kind of overlap. Yeah. But and that's kind of the only way to do it if you're going to have ongoing tournaments. But
then I remember at the time I remember media complaining about it because they felt like it was like, oh, another tournament. I remember, but I don't know. Everyone seems to love the season. It's like, well, it's different, but we could put a rhinoceros in the cage too. That's different, but that'd be kind of cool actually. And I take it back. Yeah,
hold on now. Come on, let's not rule it out.
Yeah, I can't be throwing these $1 million ideas out there for free. But you know what I'm trying to say. Just because it's different doesn't mean it's better.
The concept is very good. It's just, you're right. Just the logistics of how combat sports work really make it difficult to actually have a proper season. It's just not easy to do. So yeah, I sympathize. Listen, I sympathize with their position. But also, man, they got to figure something out, because it just kind of sucks that. And now Pinedo is one great knockout is in the playoffs, and he knocked out Chris Wade, who kind of had thought he had a chance again. And I don't know. But listen, that's also the part they're selling the unpredictability of it. Like, man.
Brandon Loughnane also not the youngest. Everyone kind of like assumes he's like this young fighter. He's older than Max Holloway. Like he's like 34, isn't he? Like that's like doing these back-to-back seasons when you're 30 plus is tough on the body.
Yeah, he said it. He said it in an interview with interview. I think he spoke to Damon earlier this week. I know he's on the MMA Hour, but he also I know Damon had an interview with him, and I think he told Damon like, yeah, people just don't know. Like he's not saying it's like necessarily harder, than just doing a regular kind of fight schedule, but it's different. It's definitely different. You have to prepare yourself in a different way, and some people can do it, some people can't. Again, he had great success last year. He won his first fight this season, and he just picks the wrong night to slip on a banana peel. And he goes from being the number one or number 2 seed to out of the playoffs. And now Jesus Pinedo is in the playoffs. So, but again, PFLs, you sell it, right? You sell it. Now you sell Pinedo as the Cinderella story, and you have a guy who's been around, and now there's his chance to really make his first chance to make $1 million. And I don't know. There's an appeal to it. I don't know how people felt about the card again, assuming they even watched it, but. Someone in the comments says, I don't know if this is true. Jose, can you verify this? Jose took a picture with me at Starbucks yesterday.
I did. That's hilarious.
It's all caps.
Funny,
It's
yeah.
all caps. Warren
I was like,
Bashand.
Yeah. I met our buddy Oscar Willis, who's sitting 2 seats down from me, and he was like, because we grabbed coffee before ceremonial weigh-ins, and there was the fan that commented was in a Venom fight kit. I was like, oh, UFC fan, and then I like sat down, and he's like, Jose, can I have your pick? And in my mind, I'm like, if you know who I am, you consume a lot of MMA. Like Oscar, I can understand because he's been on screen with like Connor and Dana and everyone. I'm like, why do you know who I am?
I mean, you're ubiquitous now, though. I mean, I'm trying to think what was the last pay-per-view you.
What did you call me?
I'm sorry. I know it's a big word for some.
UFC 288 in Newark,
it's a big
New
word.
Jersey.
It's a big word for some from New England. I apologize, but what is the last pay-per-view you didn't attend?
UFC 288 in Newark, New Jersey.
You weren't there.
The last pay-per-view. No,
yeah,
who
was there? Who was there?
New York, Rick,
and before that, it was UFC 2. It was Eric, and someone from the MMA, and then before that, I think it was UFC 283 in Rio, in Sao Paulo or Rio, whatever it is, just because he's.
Oh, okay.
So I was going to say it was. I wasn't there for before that I wasn't there for Derek Lewis, Cyril Gahn because my buddy was getting married, so Casey went to Houston.
Okay.
For that pay-per-view, and before that, it was way before the pandemic.
You have gone. You are the. I mean, you have covered every card that we do not have someone within like a reasonable distance of. Is that a
pretty much
qualifier that makes sense?
Never let them forget.
So yeah, you're pretty famous, man. You're pretty famous. I don't know. He's disgusted.
Here's
you want to know how famous I am? This is a funny story. I was in a hotel lobby in Jacksonville. It was me, Mike Bond, Oscar, and John Morgan, and we were all editing video because like they had to like do something. So we all went down to the hotel lobby to like finish our work. We're all sitting there on our laptop, and a fan comes up to me and asks me to take a photo of him and everyone else. And then he takes the phone and goes, thanks, and then walks away. I was like, appreciate you. That's how famous I am. I'm the guy that people ask to take the photo.
No, that was then. Listen, that was then.
I thought it was hilarious. I thought it was funny.
That was much like when Helwani told that story about us with Gareth A. Davies in England, and a fan basically asking Gareth to take a photo of Ariel and the fan. It was wonderful.
That's hilarious.
D-Rock says Jose is the best MMA reporter / journo out there. There you go. The people have spoken.
Here's a question for us.
Ooh, Pro Fights Info with another question. A question for Jose or anyone else who's been to these weigh-ins live. What's the mood like when one fighter holds everyone up like this? Do people care? That's a good question. I don't recall.
Like in terms of like the media?
Yeah. What's the mood in the room?
Yeah.
I know that.
I mean, we're all like it depends on who it is. Like right now, Adam Fugitt, it would be like it would be annoying because it's Mike Malott and like there's a lot of Canadians here that want to see Mike. But like when it was Charles or like when Amanda waited for the last minute in Dallas, then we're all like antsy. But right now we got the 4 big names. We got Charles, Benil, Amanda, Irene. So we're all like editing the video. If it was like I said, Charles, or that one time Amanda, or like when Overeem or Derek Lewis was late, or like when Greg Hardy missed weight, like that would, or came in a little heavy, like you get a little antsy. Now, Adam Fugitt is a great fighter. He's a very nice guy. And I think a lot of the Canadian media here is a little concerned because they're here for Mike. But like us is there's levels to Charles Oliveira being the reigning champion and coming in late, and then Adam Fugitt, if that makes sense.
I think
You know what
speaking
does
of
it? What
go ahead, Casey.
will change the mood of the room is when it's say the top 2 fights, one of those fighters comes at the very last moment and then misses weight, and then the commission goes, you know what? We'll give him 2 more hours.
Yeah.
That's when the mood goes.
Yeah.
But yeah, it always changes state by state. I can never like. Do you know if he gets extra time to weigh in if Adam Fugitt misses
I
weight?
haven't.
Let's not think about it.
That is a good question.
Yeah, don't even bring it up. Don't even bring the possibility. I want to talk about the Canadian content. I think one of the reasons this lineup was a little disappointing is that like it has the big names at the top, which is good. You know, and you got that's pretty decent top 2 fights, right? But you know, and this isn't the UFC's fault. UFC can't do anything about this. It's a shame that it's been so long. It's been since 2019 since they've been there. That like they just like, and we ask this every year at this point. Where is the Canadian stars? Like not like a we're not listen. The next GSP is not coming to that door anytime soon. And that's fine. It doesn't have to be a GSP level star, but so many potential stars just either didn't pan out. Marc-Andre Barreau is one of them. When he came, I was at. I'll tell the story. I was at his debut in was Ottawa, and he was undefeated up to that point. Two division TKO champion. TKO, the promotion that gave us GSP, David Loiseau, guys like that. And Quebec media was there. There was going to be a big deal. He was a pretty favorable matchup with Andrew Sanchez. Excuse me. Not like he wasn't like minus like 300 or anything, but he was favored to win that fight. He came in with a lot of hype. He lost a pretty disappointing decision. Andrew Sanchez was great that night. Bakio just didn't step up that night, and the media that was there was so deflated. And really, that scene for me encapsulates just a lot of sort of what's happened with the Canadian MMA scene, where it's just whatever, it just hasn't developed. Our legislation was really screwed up in Ontario for a while, and there's just no local scene here, and like one of the biggest provinces in Canada, which is super depressing. So there hasn't been a star. So you like again, they put Mike Malott as high as they could. That's a great choice, but I mean, you wish there was a Canadian star that could be in the main event or the co-main. As it is, we got decent. We got Mike Malott, we got Barrio, we've got Jasmine Yasidavicius, Ayman Zahabi, Kyle Nelson. That's actually not a lot. It's like 5 out of 11 fights.
Deanna trains here.
Oh, I'm sorry. I apologize. I apologize to Deanna Bibita. I keep forgetting to claim Deanna Bibita. Yes, she does. She fights out of Ontario. So there you go. You know what? I should take that.
What other Canadians were we missing on this card that are in the UFC?
Oh, that could be on this card. That could. Johan Linus, who Mike Malott just beat.
Lupi Godinez.
To be fair, Hakeem Dawada was supposed to be here. No, Lupi could. She trains in Vancouver, but she's been training a lot.
We'll claim her.
Claim her.
Yeah, and she's been training a lot with Irene right now. And we'll have this conversation probably later on this stream, but like there's a very important date in Las Vegas that Lupi will probably be on, and which is why they're probably saving it for then. Yeah. But also, to be fair, Hakeem Dawada was supposed to be on this card too, and he's a Calgary boy.
Mm-hmm. Tanner Bozer, thank you, Max Rapkin, in the comments for reminding me. Tanner Bozer's out there.
Okay,
but again,
let me ask you a question about the whole Canadian fighter thing.
Please.
Is it necessary? Because I asked this about a Korean, I forget his name, sorry, but a Korean reporter when UFC went to South Korea. They were like, oh, there's like no Korean fighters on this card, because Korean. Oh no, they moved the card from Korea. Sorry, because Zombie wasn't on the card. But I'm on the as a fan, I want to see fighters I'm never gonna see. Why do I want to see people who've already fought here?
So I asked that. I asked that to Dave Shaw when we were in Perth because you guys consume the product. Mm-hmm. I was like, I know everyone in Australia loves Volkanovski, but like I'm sure they want to see Jorge Masvidal fight. I'm sure they want to see John Jones fight. And he's like, yeah, we would love to bring them there, but we're still slowly rolling out. Because remember, I think Kane headlined Australia against Bigfoot. Remember back, they would have the most random.
Is that in Australia? I didn't know that.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Like DJ fought Ian McCall in Australia. Like they would have like people with no ties to the country headline.
BJ Penn versus John Fitch was in Australia.
Benson Henderson, Frankie Edgar in Japan. Like all that kind of like it was fun. Or like Dan Henderson fought Rampage in what, London or Ireland or whatever it was. Like yeah, they used to do it all the time back then.
Yeah. And that's listen. Of course, you're right. You're right. When the UFC comes down, you do want to see some stars. I remember. So I think I want to say the first UFC show I ever went to. This is as a fan was 161 in Winnipeg. Not a great card. Definitely not a great card. Super. Not a super card on paper.
Don't tell me.
Go ahead.
Was that Rashad Evans and Dan Henderson?
Correct.
Oh, yeah.
Stipe
And
in the
Ken
co-main
Brown?
against
No.
Roy
Stipe.
Nelson.
Was that Roy Nelson? Roy Nelson? That was back
Yeah,
when Roy
Stipe
Nelson
and
was
Roy
just knocking
Nelson.
fools out. Then he ran
And the
into
late,
Stipe.
the late great Ryan Jimmo also fought in that card, and that was one of the worst fights I've ever watched live. He was fought Igor Pokrajic, and he was literally picking Igor like double underhooks in the middle of the octagon, picked him up, walked him over to like the fence, and just held him there. And I'm like, I've never seen anything like this. This is bizarre. And he was on he was like knocking people up before that too. So I was like super jazzed for that fight. And then I don't know what
Ryan Jimmo?
Hey, he won the fight. So, yeah, Ryan Jimmo. R.I.P. Ryan Jimmo.
RIP.
But that's a good example of a card, Casey, where the top was like super exciting for me because I'm like, oh, Dan Henderson. Like I may never get to see Dan Henderson live after this card. Like this may be the last time he comes to Canada. So that was exciting in a way. Still, you were like, oh wow, Jake Shields, Tyron Woodley on the prelims. I do not remember watching that live at all. I know I did. I just don't remember it. But yeah, you want that mix though. You want that mix of the name power, the marquee name power, and then a lot of Canadian content. So I guess they kind of did their best with UFC 29. Again, it's not their fault. It's not their fault that Canada just hasn't developed any huge stars. We had a lot of people on paper that we thought could maybe make it through.
AK, big announcement. Only less than 1 hour left for Adam Fugitt
Oh
to
my
make
God.
the weight. Only
Adam
1
Fugitt,
hour
where are you?
left.
Where are
1
you?
hour.
Pro Fights Info, by the way, reminded me. Jesse Ronson, the body snatcher. Is Jesse Ronson still on the roster? John McDessie, is he still active? Yes, he is. John McDessie is still active. Jesse Ronson, I have to check.
Pretty sure John Medesi beat Pineda in the UFC.
Jesse Ronson is not in the UFC anymore. He is not. He's fought 3 times already outside the UFC. So I thought I remember that. And Charles Jourdain, thank you guys. Charles Jourdain, of course. How can I forget? Who also just fought recently, Chrome Gracie. Well, actually,
You know who I think could be a bit. I don't know if he's going to be a star, but Charles's younger brother is very good at MMA.
Who's his younger brother?
Charles Jourdain's younger brother is very good. Oh man, I can't remember his first name, but I've seen like highlights. He is. Hold on 1 second. Lost Wi-Fi. What'd you say?
People reminding me. Malcolm Gordon. Yep. Thank you, Malcolm Gordon. That's another one.
Oh yeah, Malcolm Gordon. There you go.
Malcolm Gordon. But again, really, like
Louis Jourdain, isn't it? That his name?
Louis Jourdain. Oh, interesting. I don't.
Okay.
I'm not. I'm
Who's the most?
I'm
Who's
not
the most
familiar.
northern Canadian fighter to make it into the UFC?
Come like ever?
Yes, ever. What's the
God,
Edmonton's as far as the major cities? That's the biggest city.
I'm gonna cheat here because my geography is so terrible, and I want to.
Why do I know more? I know more about Canadian geography than you.
Listen. I just need to know.
I'm really into geography, by the way. I like a lot.
Most northern. I'm trying to think if there's been any fighters from the. Oh, you know what? I'm gonna super cheat here, and I'm gonna bring up my own database of fighters that I've been keeping for like the last 15 years, which has where every fighter is from. Give me a moment because I'm trying to see: are there fighters from Yukon? Are there fighters from the Northwest Territories? It's like not off the top of my head. So other than that, then you're just sort of looking at the northern part of.
Have you ever been to the Yukon?
No, I have not.
Have you? Have you just been to Vancouver and Toronto? That's basically it. That's all you know about Canada.
No, I've Winnipeg, man. I'm a Winnipeg. I love Winnipeg. How dare you? How dare you, sir? Obviously, I've been to Quebec.
There's a lot of there's Canada's a hotbed for comic book writers too. They're like very high level comic book writers.
Who's the guy who did the you know what? I can't even remember his name.
Brian Lee O'Malley wrote Scott Pilgrim.
Yeah.
Jeff
Who's the
Lemire,
guy who
obviously,
did all
like
Who's that guy who did
Top
the indie
level.
stuff and then did all those huge Marvel and then he did like Avengers and what was his name? Golly.
Steven Spielberg.
I mean, Chip
Yeah,
Zdarsky and Jeff Lemire have done both of those.
Yeah, that's not.
Jonas
that's not
Staples
who
is a
I'm
great
thinking.
writer. Chip Zdarsky wrote Spider-Man. He wrote he wrote all those guys.
I'm thinking of that guy. He did like these like hockey. He did like these hockey comic books up here that were like super
Kate
critically
Beaton.
acclaimed. Kate Beaton. I love her.
I said that. Jeff Lemire. He wrote Essex. That's what I said.
Thank you, Jeff Lemire. I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. Yeah,
He wrote Essex
Jeff
County,
Lemire.
and he wrote
Correct.
Yeah.
Let's
Essex
see.
County is about to be a
Northwest
TV show.
Territories.
Oh. Want to read this comment?
Oh, sorry. Let me see. Aaron's. I mean, these shows aren't the same without Hike Mech. I agree. Hike Mech, my best friend. Listen, nothing's the same without Hike Mech. That is a fact. That is a fact. I'm going to find some from
What's the best bands? The best rock and roll bands or any genre of bands?
I'm gonna ask
Wolf Parade.
While you guys are
go on.
While you guys are thinking about that, I'm gonna ask fellow Canadian journalist Mike, is there anyone from the Yukon that's fought in the UFC? His eyes just bugged out. He doesn't believe so.
I'm trying to figure out this northernmost. That's tricky.
Are there any TriStar fighters on this card?
Emin Zabi.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, you're right. Sorry.
Mm-hmm.
That obviously. Yeah.
Ryan James was from Newfoundland, excuse me. But that's even more southern than some of these other provinces, so that's not going to do anything. That's a good question. I don't see any. I've also been cheating and looking at the comments. I don't see anyone.
Oh, so I have people throwing out bands. Bands from Canada.
Sure. There's so many good
Kid. They're a good.
I'm not
band.
I'm not familiar.
They're good music. You don't listen to
Wolf Parade, my favorite band from Canada. I love Wolf Parade. Metric,
Rush is pretty good.
Tegan and Sarah, obviously.
Rush is pretty good at.
Rush, sure.
Are Tegan and Sarah? Are they both from Canada?
I mean, they're twin sisters, so I would hope so. Yeah, I mean, it's possible. I mean, it's entirely possible that I would hope they're both from Canada.
AK's a big Bare Naked Ladies fan.
Bare Naked Ladies, listen, you can't go wrong.
Sing the song. Sing the song. Go.
Which Brit? What? 1 week?
Yeah. Sing it.
Kitty China, the Chinese chicken. You have a drumstick and your brain stops sticking. Come on now. Come on. Obviously.
I think last month was the 30th anniversary of one of the best punk rock albums ever, How to Clean Everything by the band Propaganda from beautiful Winnipeg.
What?
30 years.
That
album changed my life.
Wow.
So I was very...
It changed your life?
Yeah, the How to Clean Everything? Absolutely. Like, it blew me away.
Oh, I've heard of this band. For some reason, I thought you said Proper Gandhi, and I was like, that sounds weird. I'm like, Propaganda, of course.
Propaganda. You've heard of them?
I've heard of them. I haven't heard any of their music. Right. I've not heard of them. Ryan Adams, Celine Dion. Yeah, Dave Sandine, of course. The divine Celine Dion. Shania Twain, Avril Lavigne. Come on.
Where does Snow fall on the pantheon of this?
Top 200. At least. And of course, Alanis Morissette.
At most, top 200.
At most. Sum 41 is breaking up soon, apparently.
I know. Good stuff from Sum 41. What did I say?
Sing a song.
Nelly Furtado. Drake.
Didn't Mike Malott bring
Carly
up,
Rae Jepsen? Carly Rae Jepsen.
Carly Rae! Thank you. Dude,
Anna's Own?
I wanted to go. Carly Rae played last Saturday in LA at the Pride Festival.
What?
But I didn't want. I just wanted to avoid festivals.
Speaking
of,
hey guys,
I'll go see Carly Rae.
Hey, speaking of, I know we were talking about this, but Luffy just got a new fight. I think it's Sam Hughes on that September 16th show in Las Vegas.
That makes sense. That's two people who never take.
Independence Day.
The only thing that's weird is that it looks like it's a full notice fight, and these women never take full notice fights. I'm shocked they're not fighting next week. That would be more Loopy and Sam Hughes-ish.
It's also a lot. Yeah. Well, they're probably going to put a lot of Mexicans. I bet Raul fights on that card. I bet a certain champion that's Mexican fights on that card. Because it's in the T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas, and it's a fight night. So they got to put something at the top.
Loopy and Sam, I like it. It's good looking stuff. Justin Bieber. How could I forget Justin Bieber?
Wait, so who's the
Shawn
bigger
Mendes.
who's the bigger rapper, Snow or this guy?
It's Drake by like a little bit. He's like
By a
slight,
little bit?
but just by volume. If we're going
Yeah.
by like quality of work, it's like
Yeah.
neck and neck. It's,
Neck and
it's
neck.
just
Okay,
Drake.
fair.
Just
Fair enough.
But
fair
has
enough.
Does Drake ever sung a reggae song like Snow? Probably not.
I was gonna say Sean Paul, but I don't think he's Canadian. He was huge in Toronto, but he's Jamaican.
That's so
I wish we
bizarre.
could claim Sean Paul. My God, if we claim Sean Paul, I mean that's it. The musical debate would be over. Oh, The Weeknd. People mentioning The Weeknd. All right, I want to
Dude,
talk
the idol
about
is so bad. Speaking of which,
the Fozzy. Fozzy, I don't think I would claim Fozzy as a Canadian band. They weren't formed in the
so
Canada.
if you were all right, here's a question. Here's a question for you, okay? As a
Uh-huh.
Canadian, I know you don't get around much in Canada, but
Yeah.
like obviously there are certain songs that we in the business call cheap pop for like
Okay.
if you're from the area. So like if you're in Boston, you walk out to like
Yeah.
Dirty Water. If you're from New York, you walk out to like one of the millions. You know what I mean? Is there a Canadian song that would get a cheap pop from a Canadian
Easily.
fighter?
Easily.
What?
Spirit of the West, Home for a Rest is like
Oh,
you go anywhere in
God.
Canada and you put that song on. It doesn't you go to the prairies, you go downtown Toronto, it doesn't matter. You put that song on a bar,
Sing
club,
it.
something like
Sing,
that.
give me a beat. Sing it.
I do not know any of the words to this song, and I've listened to this song 9 million times because you're supposed to be like hammered when you listen to it and try to sing along with
Alright,
it.
fair enough.
So I don't know any of the words to it, but I think most people I would think know the song.
What's a song, Casey? If you were a fighter
Home
in
for a Rest.
if you were a fighter in LA,
Oh, LA. I was gonna say,
but not
well,
rap. I want like because like rap is because you can walk out to Pac, you can walk out
yeah.
to Kendrick, like
I
any
mean,
of those like non-rap
California,
songs.
California loves cheesy and overplayed, but yeah, that still gets
It's
a
a-
pop.
You know, I'm not talking about any rap. Like give me like a rock song from LA.
Man, there were so many good hair metal in the 80s.
I know,
I mean,
but like if you walked out to it in LA,
but I mean, I want to say "Welcome to the Jungle," but that song's so big, it's kind of it transcends
Yeah.
LA. That's the problem. Guns N' Roses
Yeah.
is like very famous LA band. I'm trying to think of super LA. I can't. LA, honestly, LA is so freaking diverse, much like New York. It's
I know.
kind of hard to pinpoint one song that would kind of just take it.
is there? I don't know how, or like there's obviously song like to me, like Tom Petty is like very LA to me, but he's from Florida.
He's from, yeah,
That makes sense. So
I
it's like you
got
get a
you.
lot of musicians that aren't from LA.
Oh man.
Did you know
I
the
mean,
band?
but yeah. I would put
know
like
the-
some Circle Jerk song on or something.
you know the Eagles. Have you heard of the band the Eagles?
Yes.
Formed
Once or twice.
formed in LA, commonly thought of as an LA band. Actually, like most of the members are not from LA. Did you know that? That's a fun fact for you.
I tried to actively not think about the Eagles.
Oh, you guys are too good for it. Oh, you're too good for the Eagles.
Eagles are pretty lame.
Next, you're gonna tell me you're
No,
too
they're
good for Sweet
me,
Caroline.
apparently. That's what.
Oh, you're too
No.
good for Sweet Caroline.
Well, sir, Sweet Caroline plays every seventh inning or after the seventh inning of every
Right?
single
You guys
Boston
lo-
Red Sox
yeah,
game.
you guys love
Park,
that.
So,
I was
guys
gonna
love
say
it.
for LA right now, if you play some Nipsey Hussle, that will get a pop, but that is rap though. So I'm trying.
Nipsey Hussle, I think, is a very overrated musician, but he is such an important figure to like the culture. if that makes sense.
Agreed. I think who he is as a person to the
What he
community
stood for
was
is hyper
yeah,
is
bigger
way
than the
bigger than
music.
his musical skill.
Agreed.
Casey, I think actually I'm enjoying this musical session so much. People are asking about other things now. Neil Young, my God, how did I forget Neil Young?
You've got
Goodness me.
okay. I'm embarrassed by that.
Thank
one.
you, Pro Fights Info. How did I forget Neil Young? God. Let's try. I don't think it's gonna make. Well, we got to try, Casey. We have to do our part. I think we got to do a rain dance. I think if we start to read the weights, he'll interrupt. Adam Fugitt will interrupt.
All right. Here we go.
I'm going to take my time. I'm going to take my time in the hopes that I want him to be interrupted. I want Jose to cut me off and say we have movement. Adam Fugitt is coming, and I will just shut up, and we'll watch Adam
right.
Fugitt weigh in. That's what's about to happen.
Let me get my keyboard out. Keyboard noises. All right, here we go. 3, 2, 1.
All right, everyone. We are only waiting for one person now at the UFC 289 official weigh-ins in Vancouver. Thank you, everyone who's been watching, anyone who's just recently joined us, the MMA fighting team. The footage on screen and the sound being brought to you by one Mr. Jose Youngs on site. Our main event, both fighters coming in at championship weight, including the champion, two-division champion, Amanda Nunes, defending her bantamweight title against Irina Aldana. They both came in 135 pounds. In the co-main event, what should be a number one contenders bout for the lightweight title, Charles Oliveira, the former champion, coming in 154 pounds. Beneil Dariush using the 1 pound allowance for a non-title fight, coming in at 156. Canada's Mike Malott, coming in 169.5 for his welterweight bout with Adam Fugitt, who is the one fighter we are still waiting for. Dan Ige coming in 145.5 for his...
AK, your mic. You turned off your mic somehow.
Oh, my hand went down. Sorry, I'll start with the Dan Ige thing.
You gotta start over.
You guys heard Mike Malott, 169.5. Adam Fugitt, we're still waiting for Adam Fugitt. Dan Ige, 145.5 for his featherweight bout with Nate Landwehr, 145.25. And Eric Anders at 184.75 for his main card opening middleweight bout with Marc-Andre Barriot. Closing out the prelims, Nasruddin Imavov, 185.5. His opponent, Chris Curtis, 185.25. Jasmine Yasidavicius, 125.25 for her flyweight bout with Miranda Maverick. I love those alliterative battles. Love it. Ayman Zahabi, 135.75 for his bout with Richie Lang. That's a bantamweight contest. Blake Bilder, 145.5 for his featherweight bout with Canada's Kyle Nelson, who came in at 145. David Dvorak, 125.5 for his flyweight bout with Steve Ursig, 125.5. And Diana Belbita, who does fight out of Canada, 114.5 for her strawweight bout with Maria Oliveira, 115.5. Guys, it didn't work. Adam Fugitt's not here. I don't know if you guys noticed.
True.
Adam Fugitt. Not here. Let's see. I'm trying to see if there's any comments. Anyone has the inside scoop on Mr. Fugitt. My pal James Lynch saying he has never missed weight either of his 2 UFC fights. That's always a good sign. I'm trying to see if he has any other sort of history outside the UFC of weight issues. Let's see. We can dig up on Mr. Adam Fugitt here.
Is it? Oh wait, he's not Canadian, right? No, because
he is not. He is from Oregon, so not far off from Vancouver at all.
He was from Oregon. Maybe he drove.
He's
stuck at the border right now. Yeah.
he's actually closer to Vancouver than Mike lives.
He's closer to Vancouver than I am, frankly, and I'm in. He's not even the same country.
This is like I guys told you. This is Mike Malott. This week is Mike Malott's first time ever in Vancouver, and like Adam Fugitt's had like multiple Muay Thai fights here. He's like, yeah, they hate me. They're gonna hate me this week, and I fought.
Adam Fugitt has fought at he fought at 185 a long time ago, but has pretty consistently made welterweight since 2018. So no reason to think that he's having any major issues. Maybe he slept in. Maybe the alarm just didn't go off. I'm
gonna say Fugitt's more Northwest Canadian than Mike Malott.
Yeah, listen. If people were asking before, who has fought like from the most northern part of Canada, I mean, really, you'd actually have to go to Alaska. Obviously, not Canada, because we've had fighters from there. We've had Lauren Murphy, Jared Cannonier. So I mean, really,
the dude that used to work on boats and fight drunk.
Cody McKenzie.
Yeah.
Cody McKenzie. So if you want to, yeah, listen. If you want to go north, you can go all the way up to Alaska, and it's not Canada, but we've had plenty of fighters, yes, from the northern part of this landmass that have competed in the UFC. For the most part, it's a lot of Ontario. It's a lot of Quebec. A lot of Alberta too. That there's definitely a crowd out there in Alberta as well.
Shout out to
And in
Alberta.
Manitoba. Not to Alberta, always.
Manitoba,
people-
one of my favorite cities to say.
Why?
It's just fun. Manitoba. It's a great word.
It is a great word. It is a great word.
It's a fun
I saw
word.
someone lamenting, like, because Apex cards are so much cheaper. Like we may have lost the days of like very random UFC city visits.
We go
Breaks my heart.
It kind of sucks too because even Bellator used to do that a lot. Just go to random
Yes.
Midwest towns, but now it seems like their home bases, as far as big shows, are either LA Forum, San Jose, or Uncasville, Connecticut.
It's just more cost effective and reliable, right? It's like there's just no reason for them not to. Because the last time,
But the UFC, I don't get, man, because they when they go to all these cities, they seem to sell out, and I don't
they
know, I guess.
do, but is it the operation, like, still there's still an operation cost, and there's still, so I'm sure it's worth it. It would be worth it, but it's also just a lot more effort.
But Dana said that they're getting lazy and they need to go hit the road. They can't. That's what Dana said.
The last time I saw Bellator was in Windsor. What was the card? Who was on it? Oh yeah, it was Ben Askren, Douglas Lima. I saw a welterweight title fight between Ben Askren and Douglas Lima at Caesars Windsor in Windsor, Ontario, April 2012. In a card where all the main card fights went to a decision. The crowd was very rowdy, was very upset. One big fight broke out in the crowd, which got the biggest pop of the night. Elias Theodoro, rest in peace, had fought on that card. I was sitting right next to the family of his opponent as he pummeled the guy, so that was fun. Future Ultimate Fighter champion Chad Laprise was on there. This is so random. Nordine Taleb was on there. So anyway,
How's Chad Laprise doing? I haven't even thought of his name in years.
I think
What's
he's
he up to?
retired. I'm pretty sure he just retired. Yeah, at the end of
He
his
is.
UFC run. Yeah.
Diego Lima just murdered him.
Yeah, that was surprising too. Moncton.
Me.
That was horrifying.
I feel like we won't see Moncton again. I feel like UFC Moncton was a one-timer.
Moncton, much like Manitoba, great city to say.
Well, Manitoba's a province, but yes,
It's the city of Manitoba.
the city of Manitoba. Of course. I'm just trying to look, and yeah, even recently, Charlotte was kind of fun. That was kind of fun. Salt Lake City. Well, they love Salt Lake City now. Salt Lake City is just a regular place now, and that's a pay-per-view spot. Forget just fight nights. But yeah, I'm just going down, man. I missed some of these random, quote unquote, kind of random stops. Are they going to go to Copenhagen again? When are they going to go to Copenhagen
When they
again?
did, they got to do a few, Europe shows because they got to go to Copenhagen.
Greenville?
They got to go to Stockholm.
Greenville? Are we going to see Greenville?
Greenville.
Wichita? Come on, Wichita. We got to go to Wichita.
Sioux Falls.
Sioux Falls. They had like two
Minneapolis.
cards in Sioux Falls, right? Oh, just one.
They still. How many states have they never been to? Like ever?
Oh, how many states have they never been to?
Yeah,
that's an excellent question.
they've never been to
I'm
Rhode.
trying to
They've never been to Rhode Island.
Delaware.
I don't think they've been to Arkansas.
Delaware.
Have they been to Arkansas.
I have to check all these now.
I didn't realize this.
'Cause there's a
Oh, sorry. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I interrupted you. Sorry.
I was just trying to, because there's a lot of early UFC 1, 2, 3 that were in Buffalo and Casper, Wyoming, and Alabama and Georgia and Mississippi. So you got a lot of those, but I don't think they've ever been to Arkansas. I know they've never been to Rhode Island.
Obviously, they've never been to Alaska.
They've never been to Delaware.
Yeah.
Never been to Alaska. Never been to Hawaii.
Montana. Quite a few. I'm just looking at the list
Montana,
now.
as far as I've been.
Yeah, West Virginia.
Rhode Island will never get one.
That sucks. See but that's I feel like we're losing. I wish they would go. They should go somewhere in Rhode Island.
Well,
But again,
Rhode Island. Well, there's only one place to go in Rhode Island. That's the arena in Providence, but it's 45-minute drive to Boston. So like, if you're gonna go to the Northeast, you're gonna go to Boston because like
Of course, of course.
I know they held their event in Bangor, Maine that one time. I was at that one too, Mike. Yeah, it was the only MMA media there were me, Mike Vaughn, and Matt Erickson, and then everyone else was local media. This was back when they did Dana would do his pre-fight scrums every time. So it was literally like it was OSP Bader, and I was shadowing Bader for a story for Arizona Sports, and so I had to do a little bit with OSP too. And if you've ever been to Bangor, Maine, they don't normally get 6'6" men with brands all over them. So he was getting a lot of side eyes when we were walking around town square.
Man. Right, Maine. All right, Casey. Oh, sorry, I didn't see the comment on the screen. Pro Fights info. Just 4 fights ago, Adam Fugitt fought Devin Brock at a catch weight of 175. Not sure if that was Adam's fault or not, but there's that little tidbit. I think that was a scheduled. Let me check that real quick. I believe that was a scheduled catch weight bout.
That must have been super short notice because I trained with Devin, and he's a 55er. So yeah, I'm not sure.
I'm pretty sure that was scheduled. I'm pretty sure that was scheduled. I don't recall very much recall it off the top of my head, but I believe that was scheduled. So that's fine. Listen, that's one thing we want to talk about from this card while getting slightly on topic. Again, listen. You guys want to hear us talk about 289? We're doing the preview show later today. You got a Q&A. There's plenty of 289 talk, but I know we've gone a lot of sort of tangents here. But I will talk about 289. And Casey, you brought up something way at the beginning of the show. It is strange that like people are somewhat not thrilled with this main event, even though I think a lot of people have been for a long time saying they'd like to see Aldana fight Amanda Nunes. You know, she never quite. She just suffered some weird losses here and there that kind of always stopped her from being the clear-cut number one contender. And she wasn't even supposed to fight her this time. It was just because Juliana Pena. They're gonna do the trilogy bout. Pena got injured, so here comes Irene, and we kind of got a more compelling, at least a fresh main event anyway. But it does come under strange circumstances where her recent win over Macy Chiasson, a scheduled catch weight bout, so fine, 140 pounds.
But that was on Chase. That was on Chase. That was on Macy's part, not Aldana's part.
Yes, and did Macy miss? No, Macy missed weight for like a weird fight with Raquel Pennington or something, right? That was bizarre. That was a weird one. That was so weird. Yeah. So anyway, yes, you're right. Nobody's fault. But either way, technically not a bantamweight bout. And then Joanna Kunitskaya fight, Aldana did miss weight pretty badly, 3.5 pounds, and so that's her past 2 wins: the catchweight bout and 1 catchweight because she missed weight. And then she lost to Holly Holm, and her most recent win that was actually in a official 135-pound bout was Ketlin Valletta, December 2019. And before that was another catchweight bout, not her fault. Her opponent missed weight.
But she was first to weigh in today.
She was first to weigh in today. Yep. This is true. And that was very important because that's when her and Charles
Holm fight. That Holly Holm fight, she was still very messed up from COVID. Bad.
That was and it was a main event for her, so I understood why she didn't want to pass up on it. But but that's the fight game. But yeah, that is very well, should be very well noted how sick she was coming into that fight.
Mm-hmm. But yes, listen. Either way, she got here. Listen, I always say belts are props. They're great. It's great to be a champion. I'm happy for fighters to get paid more money because they're champions. But I'm just glad this fight is happening. We all want a perfect world where contenders go on 4, 5, 6 fight win streaks, knock off a top 5 opponent, and get their title shot that way. That'd be awesome. That's what UFC I think is trying to do with Dricus du Plessis. Like they want him to beat Robert Whittaker. I think they're a bit ill. It's going to be ill-fated. I don't think that's going to happen.
I do not want to talk about that fight, you jerk. I don't want to talk about that stupid
Whittaker?
fight. Yeah,
because you think he has a chance, or you hate that he's probably going to lose and lose a contender.
Because you lose a contender and you have it set up to do Izzy versus DDP.
It's right there. It's right there.
It's right there. He already beat a top 10 fighter. It's right there. Just do it.
But for the sake of narrative, because again, people are like, "Oh, he hasn't beaten a top 5 guy yet."
They're doing Colby.
Listen. I'm just saying this is how I think the UFC sometimes thinks, how some fans think, as they want.
No, it's not.
Which is funny because if you look at the history of UFC title shots, like it's fun. It's funny the wins that people had before a title fight that people just don't remember. Like I'll bring this wasn't like a massive fight, but I bet people cannot name who John Fitch beat before. I bet Jose can. Jose, don't chime in. I know you know the answer probably, but your average person cannot name who was John Fitch's last win before he got to fight GSP. If any, I'll give the chat a second here. If they look it up, I'll what if they look it up? I guarantee you, most people don't know.
Was John
But John Fitch was on a.
He
And
was
he
like
was on a. Listen,
he was like the
he won,
original
20 straight.
Benil. Yeah, he was like the original Benil kind of guy. He
Kind
kept
of.
winning. Yeah.
Yeah, he'd won so many fights straight. It's like you just had to make him fight GSP at some point. But it's funny. It's like we don't always.
I only
get
know
that.
this. I only know the answer to this because I was a very, very big fan of both men in the main event.
Right.
So I bought this pay-per-view
Yeah.
because it was pay-per-view. And he was the first fight, and I remember being like, "Who is this guy that John Fitch is fighting?" And that's literally, it will stick with me forever because it is like
Oh.
such an oatmeal type of name.
So many bad guesses. Scott McCrate, Jake Shields. Jake Shields wasn't even near being in the UFC by that point. BL saying Martin Campman. And I know someone just looked it up because they just said, "Who the hell is this guy?" There you go. Yeah. It was Chris Wilson. It was Chris Wilson.
I have no
Now-
idea who that guy is. No idea.
He is lost to the annals of time. But the point is, you don't always get that signature win.
It was Chris Wilson was making his UFC debut against John Finch, who had like 10 wins in a row.
Yes.
You
Listen,
start to essentially a number one contender fight right away.
Very different sport back then. I don't even think it was a number one contender fight. It was just that John Fitch, again, at that point had won 12, 13, 14 straight fights, and Chris Wilson just happened to be the last of those, and GSP needed an opponent. And John Fitch was a very, very worthy contender. It wasn't like he's just like the next man up. It's pretty much like, well, he's the number one contender.
Here you go. He was I literally just Googled why did this fight happen. John Fitch was supposed to fight Akihiro Gono that fight.
Which again would also would have been a weird guy. Like if he beat Akihiro Gono and got a title fight, that also would have been weird.
No way, Gono rules.
Well, they eventually ended up fighting
but
anyway.
Not a contender in the UFC.
You shut your mouth.
I'm just saying. My point is to bring it back to
Gono moves the needle.
My point is, yes.
AK, do me a favor. Shut up.
My point is to bring it back to this Nunes Aldana thing is we want our contenders to we want these great narratives with the contenders on a big win streak and they got a huge win and then they get the title shot off that. It just doesn't happen that way. Islam Makhachev didn't get it that way, right? I mean, they tried to set it up. They tried to set him up with RDA. And it just doesn't happen that way. At some point, someone's just you want to create compelling fights, and I think Aldana Nunes is a super compelling fight. And
I love it. Let's talk about the main event. Let's just talk about the main event. Come on, let's talk about the main event. I freaking love it. No, wait.
Go ahead, Casey.
I love this. I think fans, like MMA fans, like this main event. I think UFC fans want the Pena fight because I get Pena's going to get her butt kicked again, but the press conference would have been more exciting. Aldana she's not a trash talker, just like Alexa Grasso, the flyweight champ. They're just not going to talk crap. And Aldana's like, oh, Nunes is very good. I train hard. And I'm coming to win. But I think UFC fans, we want entertainment up till the fight too. We don't want to just see the fight. And I understand why the UFC put Pena in that position for the original fight because it would have moved the needle more. We would have laughed at this fight as far as competitiveness, but we would have been entertained.
Mm-hmm. And my question, to people, saying well, why did Aldana get the next spot? It's like, well, who would you put in as a replacement for Pena? Raquel Pennington deserves it for sure, but she fought Nunes, and anyone who saw that first fight, I don't know why anyone would want to see it again. I'm not saying it won't happen. I think, like we said, Pennington weighed in as a replacement. She's done enough to earn a rematch, but it certainly wouldn't be your first choice as a replacement. You want the fresh matchup. You want a fresh matchup. You want the sense of the unknown.
And I think
that's what Aldana brings. And Aldana, her if you go just overall resume, is pretty strong.
Yeah,
pretty strong. So that's who's left at 135. If you guys have a better suggestion for who should have replaced Pena, I'd love to hear it because I can't imagine that there is one.
And that's
So
that's all on the UFC. That's on the
That's all-
UFC for it.
yeah. And the division isn't. Listen, the division is
You
what
got
it is.
yeah.
Well, I think a big like if you look at like in modern time, the two lowest selling pay-per-views ever were headlined by Amanda Nunes. Like they didn't even crack a 90K. So I'm very curious how the pay-per-view numbers are right for this one.
I would also argue though that she headlined one of their biggest pay-per-views.
Even three of the top 5.
Listen, she also did UFC.
Headline
She
what?
technically was the head. She was the headliner for UFC 200. All right, and that did. a
Well,
million.
right. She was
So-
headliner for UFC 200. She was the headline. She was the headliner for UFC 207. She fought the first Valentina fight was on the undercard of McGregor Diaz 1. So she's been involved in big
massive
fight cards. But when she's been underneath John Jones fight cards. But when she's the one carrying the flag, or the original flag, doesn't like because Felicia like Spencer Nunes did 85K, Nunes Pennington did 85K, and Nunes Shevchenko 2 did 100K.
Yeah, listen.
Nunes
those are
Shevchenko
the
2 wasn't the
lowest
original
selling.
main event, right? Though I thought it was Demetrius. I thought that was when Ray Borg got injured or pulled out.
Yeah, you could be right. I know they were. I think they were both on the card. I don't know who's going to headline, but yeah, you're probably right.
Yeah, but regardless, I get it. Nunes, when she's the A side, it just doesn't sell. That's.
I'll be right back.
Yeah, all right.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, Casey,
All right,
I
I'm
guess. How do you like that, Casey?
I'm out. I'm out of here.
It's like hold that thought, bro. Hold that thought, bro. Sorry, I just want to see if someone's got this thing in our Slack. Okay,
I
very
wonder. I wonder how different this card would have felt if it was Nunes Aldana anywhere, either in Mexico or near the freaking border, in San Diego, and in a southern, even in Houston. You know, just a southern town near the border. I wonder how different this feels.
Phoenix. I think Phoenix would have been an interesting one as well.
Phoenix
Like, there's a lot of
Phoenix, even
lot of
Phoenix.
places.
You're right. Yeah, even Phoenix.
Yeah, a lot of places.
It would have a much different feel. Yeah, that's just how it goes sometimes. You know.
And it's just a reality of how many cards there are. Like people know at this point, not every pay per view is going to be stacked. That's just how it.
Well,
they can't. That's just the way they've done it.
And that's not the issue. A stacked pay per view. I think the issue is like you pay the same amount of money.
Yeah,
and
it's getting more expensive, and you're paying more money than you paid last year.
Yeah, damn 50K.
That's what's that 50K ain't covering this anymore.
Okay, think about that. When he was 50K, I'm pretty sure the UFC pay per views were $49.99. And what are they now? $79?
I don't know, USD. I mean, again, that's like $1,000 Canadian. So
yeah, Dan 79K. Come on.
No, it's true. And listen, people know this. We've spoken about it in the media. So and we don't. There's a lot of people go, oh, why do we hate MMA? Why are you always criticizing the UFC? And it's like, guys, we have to be like real with people. We have to be honest with people. It's easy for us to keep up with.
We criticize the UFC because we love MMA and we want because we love MMA. That's our thing. That's our passion. So, and UFC they're the brand. They are number one, and PFL is number 2.
And PFL number. I don't want to hear this, and I don't want to hear this crap about, oh, you guys want less cards and less fighters getting jobs. It's like, listen, these guys are fighting for 16-16 at best, and then get released after 2 fights from the UFC if they lose. So don't tell me that the UFC is it's doing all these cards out of the kindness of their hearts. All right, they're putting these guys through the meat grinder. If they create stars and guys that they can resign, great. If they don't care. They do not care.
They are content. They are every
the
fighter is content.
Yeah, the fighters are not just labor. That's the thing. I see people call them labor. They're not just labor. They are product. They are labor and product. That is how the combat sports works. Again, this isn't just a UFC problem. This is for every promotion. But it's just in the UFC, of course, on a grander scale because they have so many cards and so many people, so many eyes on them. And frankly, a lot of defenders who I think at some point don't even know what they're defending. They just love those 3 letters so much that they won't allow any criticism. So this is how you end up with cards like this. Guys, again, like I said, speak with your wallet. We say it all the time. I think a lot of people will. This event, I'm not telling people not to watch it. Like you said, Casey, you and I are doing, if anything, a better job maybe than the UFC marketing team saying like,
I love this main event. I'm so excited for this main event. I really am.
Main event. Great co-main. I mean, this is a great co-main. Like
top 2 fights are awesome. Very awesome. But
it would have been great.
I'm turning up.
Yeah. And we did lose like Wonder Boy and Michelle Pereira, and we
Mhm.
lost Khalil Roundtree, Chris Dawkins. So and we
Mhm.
lost Khalil Roundtree, Chris Dawkins. So there were other good fights. The Keem Duwadu fight was fun. So
Yeah, Para Wonder Boy would have been pretty cool.
Canadian
Yeah, for
card,
sure.
bad luck.
Yeah. Even
Now
which
it's
is
an elevation.
Chris
But then,
Dawkins,
then
Khalil
the,
Roundtree. That would have been fun.
but didn't the show sell out? Didn't the arena sell out
Mhm.
already?
Probably.
So yeah. So what
There you go.
incentives does the UFC have to, at least as far as putting butts in seats, to jazz up this card if they're selling out? With what they got, but like you said,
Yeah,
AK,
selling out is almost like more important than necessarily getting a big pay-per-view number. Pay-per-view number, listen, fantastic. But as we've said in the ESPN Plus era with the deal they have, they are ahead of the game as soon as the year starts. Like when they're doing their accounting, they're like, we are way up in profit already, and then everything else, then let's see how much more profit we can make, right? So obviously they'd love to have every pay-per-view do 500,000 plus buys, right? But if they have one or two that again kind of, again maybe fall in the 100,000 range, maybe under, it doesn't kill them. It doesn't kill, not the way it would used to before the ESPN deal. So sure, they'll be disappointed if it does a bad number. They'll shrug it off. But again, afterwards, Dana White can tout a sellout, another sellout. If the action of the card delivers, he can say, well, a lot of people were, guess what? A lot of people were crapping on this card. Guess what? We delivered again, So they can only fall upward. And I don't know how people feel about that. I find it a little depressing. We are 20 minutes away, Casey, from the close of the weigh-ins. This is when I would start getting worried.
Oh, whoops.
This is yeah, that's nice. That was a nice, thoughtful moment. Yeah, I think this is when I would start getting worried for Adam Fugitt because that 20 minutes goes by fast, man. This last 20 goes by fast. Like we said, we've heard no movement. I'm just trying to see if anyone's. Yeah.
God bless everyone that stayed with us for the last hour and a half to wait for Adam Fugitt.
Oh, you guys are amazing. Listen, talk about another reason why I still love covering this business. Is people who tune in, on the hardcores who tune in and watch everything and hang out with us and ask questions and give us facts and can name Canadian bands. And yeah, it's been a good time. So thank you everyone again for tuning in.
No, thank you, David Sandine, for really making me think about this.
Do you think it's okay to make grilled cheese with shredded cheese? Okay, I'm not much of a foodie. I think it's fine. Why? What's the issue here, Casey?
It's weird. I mean, you can technically it melts, but it just look weird. I don't know. It doesn't feel right. It's
if it tastes good, right? It's all that matters.
Yeah, but when you plate it,
do whatever your heart desires.
Right, Jose? Right?
Say it again. Say it again.
I was just saying, you're right. I'm just agreeing with you that go with your heart, right?
If you went to a diner and
Sometimes
order grilled cheese and you just open the sandwich up and it's just a bunch of shredded cheese, I don't know. You'd be kind of like,
I don't know. Here's the thing: if I'm going to a diner and ordering grilled cheese from a diner like that, just grilled cheese, I'm eating whatever they give me. I'm not going to be one of those weirdos that's like, nah, it's shredded.
I think it's more a question of like making it yourself. I think that's what Dave is asking. Is this acceptable? Dave Sandine, if that's what you're doing right now, don't let anybody judge you.
Okay, if you're all out, if you're at home, go ahead. No one's gonna judge you.
Yeah, it's your world, girl.
Just make sure it's really melted, so there's no like lines. It looks, just.
Send a picture to Casey on Twitter. Dave, send a picture to Casey on Twitter.
Yeah. Just Google me and send me a picture on every social account. I'm gonna answer on every single social account. Yeah. I'll answer you on. I'll answer you on LinkedIn.
Everyone listening to this, can you just tweet all of your grilled cheese photos of Casey?
There you go.
That's what the C in EKC stands for.
Yeah.
Hashtag grilled cheese. Michael Harris says technically it's a patty melt if you're using shredded cheese. Again, I'm not sure what the
patty melt is
what the
burger.
EK cheese.
17 minutes left. Let's talk about the co-main event a little bit, guys. Again, you guys want to see more of a more thorough, serious breakdown. We got you covered in the preview show, which will go down, I believe, at 3 p.m. ET, noon Pacific time. So definitely stay tuned for that. I think I'll be on that as well. Give my official predictions. But this co-main, awesome fight. So it's such a great fight. I don't of course it matters. I
Is this
don't
only
want
3
to
rounds?
focus.
Is this only 3 rounds?
It's only 3 rounds. I think
Why is
we've
this
all
only
said
3
it-
rounds?
Listen, we've said in the past if it's supposed because there are no official number one contenders fights. It's not a
You're
thing.
right.
If there were, then we could say every official number one contenders fight should be 5 rounds because you obviously have guys who are supposed to be competing for a title. Why not make it 5 rounds? And the reason is because there's no such thing as an official number one contenders fight. So making someone fight 5 rounds and then guaranteeing them nothing, I guess, would be kind of cruel. But
Fair enough.
imagine if fighters had it in their contracts that if I win this fight, I get a UFC title shot in the near future.
God.
Will never happen. Will
This
never happen.
In my mind, I was thinking this was 5 rounds, even though I knew it was 3 rounds.
should be.
And I'm just now, I'm kind of disappointed because I'm imagining if it's a close fight after 3 rounds. I mean, if it's competitive in 3 rounds, you go, but these guys can just, they can finish the fight anytime. So if even if they're down 3 rounds, going into the 4th round, it's still like, oh no, oh man, I just bummed myself out.
Casey, you don't have to pick a winner. You don't have to pick a winner, but I am curious. Do you think it goes the distance?
When was the last time Charles Oliveira went the distance?
I know the answer, Jose. I want to see if you know the answer.
Oh, no,
In a win or a loss?
In
You
a
got it.
loss.
No, Casey got it. Yeah.
Yeah, I know it's Tony Ferguson, but Tony Ferguson, he won that fight. That fight was already done when he snapped his knee. Just Tony decided to fight on one leg. But
Wasn't it his arm? Because
thought it was
Tony
his
hurt
knee.
his leg against Benil.
Oh, it was Benil. You're right.
Charles Oliveira has only lost once by decision.
Wow.
I was there.
I'm saying to you guys. Okay, so Jose definitely.
Oh,
knows.
was that the weird neck
Casey.
thing? Is it the neck thing?
No.
Oh,
that was a TKO.
lost by decision. Sorry.
Lost by
I was
decision.
there.
One time he's lost by
Backwards.
decision.
I'll give you a hint, Casey.
Go.
I'll give you a hint.
Yeah. Go ahead.
It is the main event was jarring, and it is probably Esther's best photo or most well-known photo.
Oh man.
Wow.
I can't remember.
And this fight, the Oliveira fight, Casey, was the co-main to this fight that
Yeah.
Jose's talking about.
All right, I googled it. Yeah, I remember now.
He just googled it.
I
See,
googled
this is
it.
the world we live in now.
Yeah.
Okay.
I googled it. Yeah, you're right though. You're right,
UFC
That was,
162, Silva versus Weidman, July 6, 20. The Silva versus Weidman won, I should say, excuse me, July 6, 2013, Las Vegas.
Was that a 55?
That was back in my.
Oh no! Edgar
45.
went down in weight. That was Edgar.
That was Frankie's first non-title fight in years. That was like his first fight after the Aldo loss, I think.
Right.
Okay, gotcha.
The GOAT to Frankie Edgar. But yes, that's the only loss he's ever had. And as you said, the last time he even went to a decision, win over Tony Ferguson, December 2020. So it's still been a while. And that was that was one time in the last, I guess, yeah, the Edgar. So one time in the last decade, it was since the Edgar loss was a decision win over Tony Ferguson. Oh, sorry. I'm sorry. There's Jeremy Stevens in there as well. I apologize. But yes. So with that in mind, Casey, what do you think? Is this going to the distance? Is this going the distance or what?
We got movement.
Oh,
Stop it! Don't tease me. I hear a commotion.
Oh.
Is that John Anik?
Hey, is John Anik wearing a UFC Pride shirt? Oh, yes. Look at him.
yes.
Good on you, John Anik.
Mike,
Good on John.
John Anik has the mic. All of you.
Keep message. Does he get an extra pie? I believe he does, but that's up to the commissioner himself. I believe he does.
Okay. So seeing John Anik's shirt reminds me how the UFC, as far as I know, isn't doing anything to celebrate Pride Month this year.
Not that I'm aware of.
That is too bad.
Another question for you.
Oh,
So
we're
what was the
talking to the
question?
commissioner right now.
Yeah. What was the question? AK, is this fight going the distance or just my general thoughts
Yes.
on
Will
that?
this fight?
Tell me.
Will this fight go the distance? You don't have to pick a winner. Will it go the distance?
I hope not. Only because I hope not because I think decisions are bad. It's because these guys are such finishers.
What was the
that,
second
like,
question? Man?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I think Dariush
We're at
could win by decision. I think Charles wins. He'll finish it.
We quick update. We asked he's not the commissioner, but he works for the commission. He's the one checking the weights. If Adam would get extra time, and he said that's a question for the big time commissioner. So if he's around, we'll find out.
I'm just a scale guy.
That's out of my pay. That's out of my pay grade, pal.
Hey,
Take it
hey,
easy.
Hey, back up. Man, so much excitement for Adam Fugitt. Fugitt?
Maybe he's just trying to get a buzz going.
There we go.
Competing on the pay-per-view main card in a feature bout in the welterweight division, Adam Fugitt.
No preemptive box. Okay, interesting. He's not look happy. Oof. He made it.
173 quarters, the official weight.
He looks surprised.
Me too.
170.75. He looked so pleasantly. I think he also heard like 173 at first.
So that's what I said. That's what I thought he said. Did you feel,
So wait, he made weight, right?
He made weight. 170 and 3/4. 170.75.
For joining, we'll have full highlights on the MMA Justice YouTube page.
Tell
Can
Bond.
you tell who's
Hey,
tell Bond to stop
Bond.
yapping?
Hey, Bond, shut your pie hole.
Okay, don't say it like that.
Okay.
Don't say it like that.
We can't say pie hole.
Mike Bond is a friend.
All right.
no, he's not.
Speak for yourself. My fellow Torontonian.
AK, you didn't say it yet.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm just so shocked. Yes, so Adam Fugitt did make weight, 170.75. His fight with Mike Malott is official. Casey, let's run it down before we get out of here.
All right.
One
Let's
last
do it.
time. Let's do it. No misses. No misses, everybody, at the UFC 289 official weigh-ins in Vancouver. Again, this footage brought to you courtesy of MMA Fighting and Jose Young's on site. In the main event, champion Amanda Nunes, two-division champion Amanda Nunes, made 135 for her bantamweight title defense against Irene Aldana, also at 135. Co-main event, lightweights, hoping for a title shot next. Charles Oliveira, 1 pound under 154, 1 pound under the championship weight, I should say 154. Beneil Dariush, 156 for this non-title fight, using the 1 pound allowance. Mike Malott, Canada's Mike Malott, 169.5 for his fight with the just arrived Adam Fugitt, coming in 170.75. Again, using a little of that 1 pound allowance. Featherweights, Dan Ige and Nate Landwehr were on point. Dan Ige, 145.5. Nate Landwehr at 145.25. And opening the main card, a middleweight bout between Eric Anders, 184.75, and Marc-André Barriot, 185. Closing the prelims, more middleweight action. Nasruddin Imavov, 185.5. Chris Curtis at 185.25. Flyweights, Jasmine Yasidavicius and Miranda Maverick both made weight. Yasidavicius 125.25, Maverick at 125.5. Ayman Zahabi 135.75. His opponent Arichi Lang 135. Blake Builder 145.5 for his featherweight bout with Kyle Nelson at 145. David Dvorak making the flyweight limit, 125.5 for his fight with short notice replacement Steve Erceg, also 125.5. And show opening strawweights, Diana Belbita and Maria Oliveira were on point, with Belbita at 114.5 and Oliveira at 115.5. 22 out of 22 successfully made weight. You love to see it. You love to see it. That is our card. That was our official weigh-in show. Again, thank you everyone who stayed tuned in for most of it, and who waited literally almost 90 minutes for Adam Fugitt to show up, but he's successfully wait. We'll have much more content for you on MMAfighting.com coming today. Of course, we have our preview show at 3 p.m. ET at noon Pacific time. We will have ceremonial weigh-ins later. Jose will be on site, and he'll provide highlights of you from that for you of that event as well. Q&A tomorrow.
Patrick Cote. We forgot about Patrick Cote. Canadian fighters.
Patrick Cote?
Did we mention Patrick Cote?
Oh yes, Patrick Cote. We did not mention one-time middleweight titles challenger Patrick Cote. Thank you, random sinner, for sending that in and saving the show. But yes, we'll see a Q&A tomorrow. The card starts at 7 p.m. Eastern time on Saturday. Again, you guys see us in the preview. We'll go over all this. But thanks everyone for joining us. Thanks Jose on site. I know he's getting out of there. Thanks Casey in the truck. And this is Alexander K. Lee signing off for now. We'll see you soon.
Oh, AK. AK, happy birthday.
Thank you. I was born in Vancouver.